Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
Aha, the light comes on. Yeah, Ling, who was eliminated, was teleported directly to the wasteland outside the Tower of Luck. Ling, why were you eliminated too? As soon as she stood still, a girl about her age hurried over and looked at her with surprise. Yeah, Ling glanced at her and said sadly, "My strength is too weak. I have only reached the 6th floor. I still can't get to the top of the tower." While murmuring, she looked back at the Tower of Babel behind her again, looking at the top of the tower that was out of reach. "The 6th floor is pretty good. Don't blame yourself too much." The girl seemed to know what she was thinking and comforted her softly. "As long as we continue to work hard, we will find those children one day, and we don't have to go up. Not at the top of the tower." "I hope so." Yeah, Ling looked away with a sad expression. It has been so long and there is still no whereabouts of those children. They are still so young. If I could have protected them well back then, this kind of thing would not have happened. Don't think too much. They have been strong since they were young, and will be fine. And I heard from those old-timers that those who are unable to become lords will be transported to another place. As long as we continue to get stronger, we will find that place one day. "I hope so." Yeah, Ling nodded silently, her expression finally softening a lot. Then, the girl thought of something and suddenly asked, "By the way, Ling, who eliminated you? Logically speaking, your strength should not be weak among all the 9th levels. Could it be that you are among those in the 10 major realms?" "A guy?" "No." Yeah, Ling shook her head slightly. "He is a very strange person, who has never been seen before." As she said that, she couldn't help but recall the battle with Lin You in the tower just now, and her expression changed slightly. A gust of breeze blew by, blowing the tips of her hair on her temples, revealing her gentle and elegant face as gentle as jade, which was perfectly matched with her pure white clothes, making everything around her look pale. If Lin Yu were here at this time, he would definitely be shocked. He was surprised that the person he had just fought with was such a stunning beauty. Certainly, no matter how good looking he is, he will never hesitate to take action. Women will only affect his speed of climbing the tower, that's all. As time went by, the trials in the tower finally reached a fever pitch. Except for those emperors and kings who have crossed the 10th level, the geniuses from all walks of life finally began to exert their strength, gradually catching up with Lin Yu's progress, and climbed to the 7th floor of the Tower of Luck. And it can be clearly felt that after crossing the 5th level, the number of lords passing the test is getting smaller and smaller, from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands at the beginning, to less than 10,000 later. By the time we reach the 7th level, there are only a few or hundreds of people left, and they are basically from the top big realms, and even the speed of their ascent has slowed down. It wasn't until half an hour passed that people started to climb up to the 8th floor. The 3 characters, Primitive Realm, represented by Lin Yu, were also prominently among them, making the Primitive Realm lords waiting outside cheer. 8th floor. He really went to the 8th floor. This speed is probably faster than those perverts from the 10 major realms, right? I didn't expect that there would be such a powerful 9th level lord in our realm. God bless our Primitive Realm." The team in the primitive world cheered continuously, and the lords of other realms nearby also talked about it. No way. The 3 words, Primitive Realm, are so conspicuous among the well-known large realms that it is difficult not to see them. Some lords had even heard of the name of the primitive world for the first time, so naturally they were very surprised, and extremely surprised. And at this time, in the 8th floor space, Lin Yu's elegant figure moved at high speed in the duel arena, avoiding the attacks of the 2 beasts in front of him. The entire site was riddled with craters, blast marks and collapsed plants everywhere. In a deep pit at the edge, the corpses of 3 monsters were lying. They are a skeleton knight, a datura flower, and a giant centipede. That's right. Starting from the 7th level, the trials he encountered were no longer against other lords, but against 9th level lord monsters, and the highest SSS level. On the 7th floor, it was okay. There were only 2 lord monsters, and they were managed with a lot of effort. But after reaching the 8th floor, the number jumped to 5. No, with great difficulty, he finally got rid of 3 of them, leaving a beast-type nether fire fox and a demon-type hell lava dog chasing after him. Roar! Hearing the roar of the lava dog behind him, a ball of hot lava suddenly sprayed high into the sky, turning into a rain of fire and falling towards Lin Yu, who was running. The coverage area was so wide that it almost blocked all his escape routes. Grass! Lin Yu cursed loudly. The last thing he wanted to encounter was the fire monster, because it had a very obvious restraining effect on his skills. Even the dandelions he had just used to spread over the duel field through the power of rules were burned to ashes by these 2 flame monsters. Not to mention the deep blue fantasy, which was burned as soon as it appeared, leaving no way to restrict their movements. Whoosh! At this moment, a red afterimage struck. The nether fire fox on the other side directly activated its acceleration skills and approached quickly. The nether fire on its body and the rain of fire above completely engulfed Lin You. Rumble, violent fire exploded at the edge of the arena, causing the entire arena to shake. Next to Lin You, an ice shield and a semicircular protective barrier appeared, blocking the fierce combined attack of the two lord monsters. Take this opportunity. With a wave of his hand, there was a series of bursts, and large vines and wooden thorns rushed out from the ground, accurately entangling the limbs of the nether fire fox. I finally caught you, right? Lin You sneered, seeing the fire erupting from the nether fire fox, struggling desperately to burn off the vines on his feet one by one. He immediately stretched out his other hand, and gathered a mirror wall on the side, blocking the lava dog's flying attack with a bang sound. Then the power of rules burst out, and his palms suddenly clenched. Blow it up. As the voice fell, the nether fire fox's body exploded, and countless cold wooden thorns rushed out from the body, directly piercing it into a hedgehog. The lava dog, which was knocked away by the mirror wall, quickly got up and roared towards him again. The sharp front claws sliced through the air, bursting into flames. Fiery slash, activate. Not even Lin You dared to take on the lava dog's attack skill. He immediately activated his swift shadow skill to speed up, and dodged to the side, raised his ice soul sword, and with a pop sound, he cut open the lava dog's abdomen and exploded a ball of lava blood. The lava dog howled in pain and turned towards Lin You even more angrily. Gravity field. Lin You didn't hesitate and directly activated Qing Gang's special skill, and the gravity around him suddenly increased. Boom. The lava dog's huge body was heavily pressed to the ground, splashing large amounts of dust. Just as he was about to get up, his head was pierced by the icewood thorns shot out. He screamed and finally lost his life completely, and fell heavily to the ground. Congratulations, you successfully passed the 8th level trial. Transmission is about to take place. Please be prepared. Call. Finally solved. Listening to the prompts in his mind, Lin You let out a sigh of relief, fell to the ground, and immediately recovered on the spot. Without troops, it is indeed very difficult for one person to deal with 5 9th level lord monsters. If he didn't have 4 fragments of the divine head, and the power of rules was strong enough, he might have been defeated long ago. This is only the 8th level. I really can't imagine how difficult it will be later. If you want to pass the 10th level test, and get the rule fragments, it is probably not an easy task, not to mention the higher 11th to 13th floors, which are heights that only emperors can ascend. Think about it. Lin You accelerated the power of the rules, cast a small sun in the air, and then began to use healing techniques to recover himself. The other side, outside the Tower of Luck, after half a day of climbing, more and more lords were eliminated, making the entire wasteland become lively, and everyone was talking about the trial in the tower. And not long after that, the geniuses from all walks of life in the 8th floor also passed the 8th floor trial, and climbed to the 9th floor of the Tower of Luck, which once again caused a wave of exclamations. Aha! Unexpectedly, a ray of light suddenly lit up among the team in the beast god realm. A tall dragon lord covered in dragon scales appeared in everyone's field of vision, making them all quiet. Immediately afterwards, there was a violent commotion. Isn't that the Dragon Emperor's youngest son, Dragon Court? Longting, even he was eliminated. I remember he should have just climbed to the 9th floor. How come he was eliminated all at once? What exactly is on the 9th floor? The lords kept exclaiming and looking at the team from the beast god realm. As the son of the Dragon Emperor, Long Ting has already condensed the fragments of his god head, so his strength is absolutely unquestionable. But even so, he was still eliminated on the 9th floor. The speed was beyond expectation. What they didn't expect was even more. Not long after Longting appeared, the large realms also lit up one after another. The 9th level lords known as evil geniuses were teleported out one after another, causing another uproar. What's going on? How come so many people were eliminated at once? Are there any monsters in this 9th floor? Even those from the 10 major realms have been eliminated. Damn it, it's true. Exclamations ebb and flow among the crowd, and everyone is speculating on the content of the 9th level trial. Then, a shocking news spread quickly. Inside the 9th floor, there are actually 10 9th level lord monsters, and they are all SSS level. The lords who received the news were all shocked and couldn't believe it. The 9th level lord monster is nothing to those old lords. But don't forget, you can't summon troops in the trial in the tower. No matter how strong a single lord is, facing 3 or 5 lords and monsters is already the limit, let alone 10 at a time. This is simply not something that a 9th level lord can pass. Obviously, the 9th level is already the highest level that a 9th level lord can ascend to. Do you think that person can pass the 9th floor? In the primitive world team, the lords stared closely at the big words, primitive world, on the 9th floor, looking a little worried, as if they would fall down at any time. It shouldn't be possible, right? You see, all the geniuses in the big realm have been eliminated. It is estimated that no 9th level lord can reach the 10th level. Indeed, it's pretty good that someone can reach the 9th floor so quickly. It can also be regarded as a shame for our realm. This person will definitely become a king in the future, and he may even rise to the 11th level. I didn't expect that there is such a character hidden in our realm. We need to get to know him well when he comes out later. At this time, the information on the Tower of Luck has basically been fixed, and the number of people becomes scarcer as you go up. Basically, more than half of the lords are gathered below the 7th floor. Low-level lords have only reached the 5th or 6th floor. Obviously, the trials encountered by each level in the tower are not the same. As for the emperor and the kings, they all crossed the 10th level without exception. Some great emperors even stayed on the 13th floor for a while, and then their names quickly dimmed and turned gray. Challenge failed. Even the emperor was unable to pass the trial on the 13th floor, which made the lords exclaim. Their attention was all attracted by the information on the tower, and they gradually forgot about the changes below the 10th floor. And at this time, in the 9th floor of the Tower of Luck, Lin You, who passed the trial, also came here and was engaged in a death race with 10 lord monsters. Quick, stop them, roar, Lin You shouted, accompanied by angry roars that echoed in the duel arena. The entire venue had been transformed into a dense forest by Lin You using the power of rules. There are vines and thorns everywhere, as well as countless summoned piranhas and tree demons, and the sky is filled with a large number of dandelions. In the forest, 10 powerful lord monsters were chasing after Lin You, chasing him crazily from behind. Wherever they went, vines collapsed, and piranhas and dryads were torn to pieces. Lin Yu's eyes were sharp. Taking advantage of the change of direction, he turned around and threw a few chaos mushrooms, which exploded among several lord monsters, and plunged them into chaos. But the next second, the fallen angel flying in the air suddenly raised his staff, and erupted into deep black light, enveloping the lord monsters and instantly lifting their chaotic state. Grass. Lin You swore loudly and finally realized the perversion of the 9th level trial. These 10 monsters are not just simple lord monsters, but one for each faction, including the lord monsters of the 10 major factions. When 10 of them are matched together, the combat power they exert is simply terrifying. Even he wouldn't dare to confront them head-on. The only thing he was thankful for was that among the 10 lord monsters, there were no fire-type ones, otherwise he might have been defeated. Seeing that the chaos was resolved and several faster lord monsters were approaching again, Lin Yu's face darkened and he launched a brutal roar. In an instant, a red light appeared on his and those summoned creatures, and their attributes suddenly increased. Hold them. With an order, all the summoned creatures gathered around, surrounding those lord monsters. There was an explosion at the bottom of his feet, and he flew high into the sky, slashing at the fallen angel flying in the air with his ice soul sword filled with cold light. Puff, blood flowers burst and feathers flew away. Thanks to the extreme speed, the fallen angel had no time to dodge Lin Yu's charged blow. Half of its wings were directly split open and fell from the air. Lin Yu knew very well that as long as the fallen angel was still there, the damage he caused to other lords and monsters would soon be recovered. Therefore, this rear support must be dealt with as soon as possible. However, what he didn't expect was, just as he fell to the ground, preparing to pursue the fallen angel, the mechanical earth dragon in the distance suddenly opened its mouth and fired a large laser at him. The speed was so fast that it was right in front of him in the blink of an eye. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the laser exploded on the mirror wall condensed by Lin Yu. Although he was unable to break through the mirror wall blessed by the brutal roar, he succeeded in delaying the fallen angel's time, and flew out with his only remaining wing, widening the distance between him and Lin Yu. Immediately afterwards, the humanoid Cyclops and the beast-type golden-haired beast rushed away from the summons and roared at him again. Court death, Lin Yu shouted, and countless vines rushed out from all around him, accurately wrapping around the two monsters and sending them forward. Puff. The sound of flesh being pierced was heard. The huge Cyclops was directly penetrated through the chest, and fell to the ground with a scream. Seeing that the duration of the savage roar was running out, Lin Yu gave up on the golden-haired beast, activated the shadow speed skill, and chased after the fallen angel. With the dual blessing of swift shadow and savage roar, his speed suddenly reached an extremely terrifying level. In the blink of an eye, he had rushed to a place less than 100 meters away from the fallen angel. Shadow kill. When the skill is activated, the whole person turns into an afterimage, teleports behind the fallen angel, raises the knife in his hand, and pierces the fallen angel's body with the knife. Then the power of the rules was poured into it, and large wooden thorns exploded in the fallen angel's body, killing him instantly. Very good. The most difficult opponent was solved, and Lin Yu was reassured. However, This continuous explosion of skills also left little of the power of his rules. Once the savage roar is over, it may be difficult to withstand the attack of the remaining 7 Lord monsters. Without hesitation, while the state lasted for the last few seconds, he detonated the dandelions that had been placed on the field, and the corpses of the summoned objects. Boom! Ouch! A violent explosion, accompanied by a scream, swept through the entire venue. The golden-haired beast entangled in vines and the skeleton general, surrounded by summons, were instantly killed on the spot. The remaining 5 Lord monsters had defensive means. They all used their skills to block the attack, and only suffered minor injuries. But Lin You was not in a hurry. When the savage roaring state has passed, immediately give yourself a natural healing process, and raise a small sun in the sky. Then distance yourself from them again, and use guerrilla methods to wait for the savage roar to resume. Just as those Lord monsters were about to charge forward, they were immediately entangled by a large number of summons and vines and thorns, and they roared continuously inside. And while Lin Yu was fighting guerrilla warfare with the remaining Lord monsters, more and more lords gathered outside the Tower of Luck. They were all paying attention to the results of their respective realms, and even stayed close to each other. No way. After all, this is about the distribution of luck in all realms. Everyone hopes that their realm can be allocated more luck and surpass other realms. This would make them work so hard in the tower in vain. It seems like Tower of Luck will be around for a while though, but the results on the first day basically reflect the comprehensive strength of each realm. Even if there is an error, the difference will not be too big. So compared to those in large realms, they still have a big disadvantage. You can only get to the top by stepping on other realms with comparable strength. Look, a 9th level lord has ascended to the 10th floor. Suddenly, an exclamation interrupted everyone's discussion. A 9th level lord has climbed to the 10th floor. The lords from all walks of life were shocked and quickly looked at the tower climbing information on the 10th floor. 10th floor of the Tower of Luck. Level 12, none. Level 11, none. 10th level, Holy Light Realm 1047, Eternal Realm 1035, Beast God Realm 1028. Level 9, Primitive Realm 1. Damn, there really is a 9th level lord up here. Did I read that correctly? He's not from the top 10 realms. Didn't I say that there are 10 lord monsters on the 9th floor? You can even pass such a difficult trial. Isn't this too perverted? Primitive world. This primitive world again. Could it be the same person as the previous one? When they saw the name of the realm hanging alone on the 9th level column, all the lords were shocked, especially those evil geniuses who had just been eliminated from the big realm looked shocked, and even a little unbelievable, because they have all personally experienced the difficulty of the 9th level trial. I thought it was impossible for a 9th level lord to pass, but I didn't expect to be slapped in the face so quickly. What do you think? Adolf from the Holy Light Realm said solemnly. Very strong. At least stronger than us. It was rare that Mammon from the demonic realm didn't argue with him. It's this primitive world again. It seems that we underestimated him. Another person followed closely and said, I just went to investigate this primitive world. The number of emperors is only half of ours. I didn't expect that such a person could appear. Is he the son of destiny, from the primitive world? Probably. In every realm, there are always a few amazingly talented people. This is not surprising, but Lin Yu's appearance made them feel threatened. It can actually reach the level of top realms like them, with the resources of a medium realm, or even be stronger. It is difficult for them not to pay attention to it. Some people have even begun to secretly inquire about news about the primitive world, waiting for Lin Yu to transmit it. To this, Lin Yu, who was in the tower, naturally didn't know. At this time, he had healed his injuries, and teleported to the 10th level of space. Congratulations, you successfully climbed to the 10th floor of the Tower of Luck. The trial is about to begin. Please be prepared. As soon as he stood still, a cold reminder came from the sky. Lin Yu's eyes narrowed and he immediately became alert to his surroundings. On the opposite side of the dual field, a figure exactly like him condensed quickly, and an attribute interface popped up in front of him. Name, Trialist Incarnation, Normal. Race, Humanoid. Level 10. Power, 50,000. Physique, 50,000. Agility, 50,000. Spirit, 50,000. Skill, Rule Assimilation. Has all the abilities of the trialer, not affected by attribute bonuses. Introduction, the incarnation of the challenger, perfectly replicating all the abilities of the trialer, and possessing extremely high wisdom. Level 10. After reading the attributes, Lin Yu was stunned. Although he had expected it, when he saw it with his own eyes, he was still extremely shocked, and a little helpless really. The 10th level trial was not something that a 9th level lord like him could complete. And this enemy is also ridiculously strong. Even if he has all his abilities, his attributes are still so terrifying. How to fight this, etc. Not affected by attribute bonus. Suddenly, Lin Yu narrowed his eyes and noticed the last sentence of the skill. Doesn't that mean that the 4-leaf protection and savage roar are useless against this clone? If that's the case, things could be very promising. Although 50,000 attributes are still terrifying in his opinion, with the blessing of various attributes, it is not completely impossible. Moreover, the clone only copied all his abilities, and external blessings such as level 10 equipment were not copied. These are his advantages. If he can really pass the 10th level test, the reward he will receive is absolutely incomparable to the 9th level, and it is completely worth his efforts. And he has a final resort, Bloody Madness. Although Lin Yu didn't want to use this ability that can make people fall into a state of madness, he had no choice but to give it a try for the sake of better rewards. I just hope it doesn't get out of control. While thinking silently, the copy on the opposite side has also been condensed, and then at the prompt of the voice, the trial begins. Boom, the ground exploded, and the moment the prompt fell, the clone suddenly rushed out and shot towards him. So fast, Lin Yu was shocked and turned sideways without thinking. However, he was still half a beat too late, and the clone punched him in the shoulder, knocking him away. Finally, he turned over in the air and landed smoothly, but suddenly there was a sharp pain in his shoulder. Looking sideways, he saw a cactus thorn piercing his shoulder, forcing blood out of him and dripping down. It is the skill effect of the cactus unit, using so many methods in such a short period of time. Is this the power of 50,000 agility? Who dared to hesitate, frowned, pulled out the spikes, and threw them aside? Seeing the clone rushing towards me again, I immediately activated the power of the rules. With a wave of my hand, countless vines rushed out from under the clone's feet and headed straight for its vitals. The clone crossed his arms, and a mirror wall appeared in front of him, accurately blocking the surging blow. However, the huge impact knocked it away, instantly widening the distance between it and Lin Yu. Taking this opportunity, Lin Yu no longer hesitated. More than 7,000 corpses appeared out of thin air and were thrown into the air by him. These corpses were specially collected by him during the 2 days of fighting. Unfortunately, he was too hasty and only collected so many. However, his godhead fragments can increase the power of his skills by 40%, which should be barely enough. Burst. The palms raised high in the air were suddenly grasped, and an invisible force squeezed all the corpses together, and then exploded. Under the guidance of this power, the blood and flesh all over the sky turned into a stream of pure blood, and rushed into Lin Yu's body. He was shocked, and his eyes and skin gradually turned red. The body is surrounded by blood and aura surges wildly, making it look like a ferocious humanoid beast. Originally, Lin Yu wanted to complain that this skill was like some kind of evil cultivation method, but the next second, a violent aura surged into his heart and rushed into his mind, making him almost lose his mind and turn into a complete killing machine. What a terrifying skill. Lin Yu was shocked. He didn't expect Qingting's skill to be so abnormal. Could this be the power of royal blood? With just the blood of 7,000 corpses, he already felt like he was almost out of control, and a murderous intention surged uncontrollably in his heart at this time. The clone that stabilized his body quickly reacted. The power of rules exploded, and a strong suction force enveloped Lin Yu's position. Actually, he directly activated the devouring skill of swallowing heaven, trying to swallow up his bloody and frenzied state. How could Lin Yu give it his wish? The swift shadow skill is activated, turning into an afterimage and flitting out of the devouring range. Avoiding this skill then, the clone waved his hand again, and a large number of vines suddenly burst out from the soles of his feet. Break it for me. With a loud shout, Lin Yu's 4-leaf protection activated, and his fist filled with bloody aura hit the ground. Boom! The entire arena shook violently. The shock wave turned into a terrifying air wave, knocking all the vines away. The ground he was standing on collapsed instantly. A huge pit appeared, and spider web-like cracks spread rapidly around this. Is this the power of bloody madness? Seeing the power of this blow, Lin Yu was shocked. He felt an unimaginably powerful force flowing through his body, and his every move was full of destructive aura. And in his heart, there was a surging bloodthirsty desire, which made him want to fight. Come again. With a loud shout, he gave up his defense and rushed towards the clone, drawing out his sword and colliding with it. In the blink of an eye, the two started fighting fiercely in the center of the field. Tear. The clone cut Lin Yu's abdomen with a large knife condensed by the power of rules, creating a gash. Lin Yu showed no sign of weakness, opened and closed his sword skills widely, and slashed out with one knife, slicing the clone's thigh open and splattering a large amount of blood. It was a close fight with the clone, certainly. Lin Yu also knew that his outbreak time was limited. After fighting for dozens more rounds, the two men, who were both injured, suddenly collided and both rushed out, widening the distance. Rumble. There was a violent vibration, and a large number of plants suddenly rose above the originally empty dual field. Countless vine tree demons and piranhas emerged crazily and surrounded Lin You. On the top of the clone's head, large wooden thorns quickly gathered and shot toward Lin You. Lin You rolled over to avoid the wooden thorns, and the power of rules exploded. A large number of plant summons also appeared around him, and he once again fought fiercely with the rushing clones. The sound of collision kept echoing in my ears. The entire field was in chaos, with wildly surging plants everywhere. Although Lin You could barely block the clone's attack, he felt that the bloody power in his body was slowly draining away. Finally, in another collision, it was blown away by a huge force. Then there was a flash of cold light behind him, and the clone directly used the shadow-killing skill to teleport behind him, and the sword suddenly struck out. The speed was so fast that Lin You only had time to deflect his body to avoid the vital point, and at the same time activated the frost shield of the frost spirit armor. Puff! The frost shield broke in response. Lin You was stabbed hard in the back. The wound was deep enough to the bone, almost from the shoulder to the waist. It was hideous and terrifying. Fortunately, the cold air from the blast of the frost shield successfully froze the clone in place, giving him a chance to react. He rolled over and got up from the ground, and hurriedly gave himself a healing spell to temporarily stop the bleeding. He didn't dare to hold back anymore, and launched the savage roar directly. In an instant, the bloody aura on his body surged crazily, and his eyes were as red as blood, like a demon god coming to the world. Die! With a loud shout, the whole person turned into sharp arrows and flew out. The ice soul sword filled with bloody aura was slashed out, as if the air around him was about to be split. The clone felt the threat of death, struggled to break out of the frozen state, and activated damage reduction skills. At the same time, a large number of vines rushed out, wrapping themselves inside and stacking them layer by layer. Boom! With a deafening bang, the vine protection was blown to pieces. The clone inside flew upside down like a kite with its string cut off, and its chest was covered in blood and flesh. Lin Yu's feet exploded, and he pursued the victory, hoping to take advantage of the brutal 30 seconds to kill the clone. Otherwise, once the outbreak is over, he will never have any chance again. However, at this moment, a bright light flashed in the clone's eyes, and a powerful mental wave burst out, rushing into his mind, causing his brain to come to a brief stagnation and slow down. Immediately afterwards, a large number of vines emerged from all directions, and wrapped around his hands and feet, restricting his movement. He actually used Lin Yu's ability to such a perfect level. Seeing that Lin Yu was under control, the clone immediately stopped, and stretched out his hands instead of treating himself. Suddenly, the dandelions in the sky turned around one after another, all attached to Lin Yu, and then exploded with a loud noise. Lin Yu showed no resistance and was blown to pieces. You lose. Unexpectedly, a cold voice suddenly sounded behind the clone. Lin Yu, who was supposed to be killed on the spot, strangely appeared behind the clone. The clone's complexion changed drastically, and his body suddenly exited. What greeted it was a flash of cold light across its neck. Puff! Blood spattered. The clone's head rolled off its shoulders, and its movements to control the plant stopped. Congratulations! You passed the 10th level trial. A hint without any emotion sounded in Lin Yu's mind. He took a deep breath and finally collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. The savage roaring state on his body also disappeared at any time. It wasn't him who was killed by the dandelion just now, but the phantom that he copied by activating the mirage skill at the last moment. As for himself, he used his stealth ability to get behind the clone and launched the killing blow. Everything happens in just a few seconds. Although the process was very difficult, Lin Yu finally won, which made him couldn't help but get excited. Looking at his body, his clothes were already in tatters, and his chest and back were covered with hideous wounds. Even if they were deeper, they would probably kill him. Not daring to think anymore, he immediately activated the remaining power of rules to treat himself, and prepare for the upcoming 11th level test. And at this time, outside the Tower of Luck, after more than half an hour of accumulation, 2 more 9th level lords boarded the 10th level of space. One of them is the number 1 person in the 9th level that all 9th level lords have long known, the elemental Lord Angus from the Yuan Zun realm. And the other one, no one knows, because he comes from the most mysterious origin world to know among the 10 major realms, because the Teichu realm and the origin realm have to guard the gates of the world of life and death. They generally will not easily participate in the battles between the worlds. Therefore, it is rare to see the lords of these 2 realms appear. Now that I suddenly saw it, it naturally aroused a lot of discussion, and everyone was speculating on the identity of that person. But at this moment, what all the lords didn't expect was the information on the 10th level, which had been basically fixed, suddenly jumped, and the 3 words, primitive world, gradually disappeared. What happened? Why did the name of the primitive world disappear? Strange. I saw it just now. Why is it gone? Is there something wrong with the information on the tower? The lords outside the tower soon discovered the changes in the information on the 10th floor, and they were all surprised, because even if the challenge fails, the name of the realm will remain on the original level, but it will turn gray to indicate that the current level has not been cleared. But now it disappears directly, which is a bit strange unless, suddenly, the lords thought of a possibility, and looked towards the 11th level. The 11th floor of the Tower of Luck. Level 12, None. Level 11, Demonic Realm 97, Void Realm 96, Holy Light Realm 96. Level 10, Beast God Realm 4, Void Realm 4, Disaster Realm 3. Level 9, Primitive Realm 1. 11th floor. He actually went up to the 11th floor. I read that correctly? That 9th level lord from the primitive world actually passed the 10th level trial. Damn it, it's really the 11th floor. How can it be? At this moment, all the lords were shocked, and there was an uproar among the crowd. Even the lord of the primitive world looked like he had seen a ghost, wondering if he had seen it wrong. Quickly, try slapping me. Snapped. Hiss. It hurts so much. Who asked you to exert such force? You asked me to slap you. There was a commotion in the crowd, and exclamations came one after another. That was the 10th level trial, and it was said that the difficulty was infinitely close to the 10th level. There are actually 9th level lords who can pass. Is that human being? Even the 10th level lords, who had just come out of the tower, looked at the information on the tower with surprised expressions. This Tower of Luck is dynamically balanced based on the level of the challenger. The number of layers that are the same as your own level represents the highest difficulty of the current level. For example, when the 9th level is on the 9th level, the difficulty encountered is the highest level of the 9th level. After that, it officially enters the 10th level realm. The difference of one step is like a chasm. Logically speaking, no one should be able to pass, but now someone has done it, and he is currently the only lord who has passed the trial one level higher than himself. If converted to the emperor level, it would have the strength to clear the 13th floor. It's hard not to ignore them. Brother Xinyao, your primitive world really has a good seed. To pass the 10th level with a 9th level body, no one in the 10 realms can do it. You actually hid such a skill. Brother Xinyao, it's so miserable for you to hide this from us. Above the void, around the top of the Tower of Luck, several emperors praised Emperor Xinyao, who had already left the tower. No, it's just good luck. He is only at the 9th level, and he still has a long way to go. Emperor Xinyao said modestly, responding to the other person's words, showing a look that he already knew, but he was secretly muttering in his heart, when did their primitive world have such a good seedling, and why had he never heard of it? Great Emperor, this person, couldn't he be Lin You? At this time, Jizing, who had also finished the trial in the tower, came to him and said hesitantly. When Emperor Xinyao heard this, his eyes suddenly flashed. That kid, it's unlikely. He just rose to the 9th level not long ago. To be honest, Emperor Xinyao still very much hopes that the person on the tower is Lin You. As the saying goes, good things don't go to outsiders. If such a monster comes from his Xinyao empire, not only will his face be bright, but the national fortunes in the empire will also greatly improve. Although I'm not sure, when I returned to the principality a few days ago, I found that his combat power suddenly increased a lot. It didn't look like a change in arms, but like he had condensed fragments of his godhead. Jizing said with some uncertainty. Is this true? Emperor Xinyao glared. Then he burst into laughter. Good boy, it's only been a while, but he has condensed another fragment of his divine personality without saying a word. When he comes out this time, I have to catch him and interrogate him again. When Jizing heard this, he was secretly shocked, and noticed another meaning in Emperor Xinyao's words. Could it be said that Lin You already had other fragments of his godhead before? Thinking of this, Jizing was shocked. It seems that I finally understand why Lin You repeatedly creates miracles. I am afraid that Emperor Xinyao has been secretly training him, and using his great power to help him absorb additional fragments of his godhead. No wonder Emperor Xinyao valued him so much from the beginning. I'm afraid it's not true as the rumors say. He is the illegitimate son of Emperor Xinyao. Can't be wrong? That must be it. Jizing nodded secretly. He didn't expect that he would accidentally dig up a shocking secret, and his eyes couldn't help but light up. As for the fragments of godhead on Lin You, he naturally did not dare to covet them. Even if he had 100 courages, he wouldn't dare to snatch the fragments of the emperor's illegitimate son's godhead. Alright, just as he was thinking about it, Emperor Xinyao's voice sounded again. The trials in the tower should be over soon. Let's go down and gather the team to prepare. Yes. Jizing responded, immediately disappeared, and went down with several other kings to gather the primitive team at the same time. Inside the Tower of Luck, Lin You, who had basically recovered from his injuries, finally stood up. At a prompt, he teleported away from the 10th floor and arrived at the 11th floor. Congratulations! You have successfully climbed to the 11th floor of the Tower of Luck. The trial is about to begin. Please be prepared. The same reminders echoed in my ears. The reason why Lin You didn't give up and exited the trial space directly was because he wanted to see how terrifying the trial on the 11th level was. He didn't think he could pass the 11th level test. After all, he had already used all his cards on the 10th floor, and even the remaining corpses had been consumed. Without the explosive method of bloody madness, he would not be able to pass the 10th level, let alone the 11th level. While thinking about it, movement finally began to appear on the other side of the field. The two figures quickly condensed in the dual field, and finally turned into two incarnations of the trialists that were exactly the same as those on the 10th level. That's right, just two 10th level clones with 50,000 attributes, replicating all his abilities. Lin You was shocked. He finally understood how abnormal the 11th level trial was. At the same time, he chose to give up without hesitation. Do you want to give up the challenge? If you give up, Tower of Luck will record your highest clearance level and allocate rewards based on this. The current highest level of clearance, 10 levels. Give up. Nonsense. Why don't you give up and stay and get beaten? One clone almost killed him, and there was no need to think about either, but it also made him discover the pattern of trials. According to the opponents encountered in previous trials, if he guessed correctly, the 9th level Lord's challenge on the 12th level would probably have 5 identical copies, and the 13th level would probably reach the top 10. This is far beyond the scope of the 9th level Lord's response. No wonder no one has been able to pass the highest level. With the difficulty increasing exponentially, only those who can pass the level will be successful. And the moment Lin Yu's voice fell, his body was also wrapped in light, and a prompt sounded at the same time. Congratulations, you have passed the 10th level trial. Reward, Belief in the Force X1, Rule Fragment X1. Aha! The light came on, Lin You disappeared instantly, and the information on the tower dimmed. The lords from all walks of life who had been waiting outside the tower for a long time were suddenly shocked, and looked towards the direction of the primitive world team, wanting to see who had passed the 10th level test. However, what they didn't expect was, after waiting for a long time, except for a few 6th and 7th level lords, no 9th level lords were seen teleporting out, as if they disappeared out of thin air. Yes, it literally disappeared into thin air. Lin You, who left the tower, had long expected that there would be many people squatting outside, so when the teleportation came out, I immediately activated my stealth skills and sneaked into the team. By keeping quiet, he escaped a wave of attention. Let all the plans of those lords fail. Bye. Where are you hiding? Unexpectedly, a sound like thunder exploded in Lin Yu's ears, making him startled. Before he could react, a big hand appeared out of thin air and snatched him out of stealth. Then the scene in front of his eyes flashed, and when he came back to his senses, he found that Emperor Xinyao was already standing in front of him, staring at him with a pair of eyes. Great Emperor, are you looking for me? Lin You smiled awkwardly, feeling like a grasshopper being pulled out. Who are you looking for if not you? Emperor Xinyao glared at him again. Tell me, is the 9th level lord, who just reached the 11th level you? His tone was very calm, as if he had known about it for a long time, but there was still a trace of expectation in his eyes, staring at Lin You closely. Sure enough, you still can't hide it from the Emperor. Lin You smiled bitterly and didn't notice the change in his expression. Is it really you? Emperor Xinyao raised his eyebrows and looked very surprised. At his level, few things can cause him such obvious mood swings. It was enough to see how moved Lin Yu's answer made him, and he even laughed openly. Ha ha, good. I really saw you right. You are indeed a member of our Xinyao Empire. After saying that, a powerful sense swept across Lin Yu's body, and his eyes gradually narrowed. Good boy. These 4 fragments of the Godhead are more powerful than I was back then. This is just good luck, Lin You said modestly. He was not surprised that Emperor Xinyao could sense the number of divine fragments in his body, and it seemed that the Emperor was unable to detect the 11th level complete Godhead placed in his personal space, which made him secretly relieved. It's not that I'm worried that Emperor Xinyao will take a fancy to this Godhead, but that I'm worried that the emperors from other realms will sense it. If they knew that he had a complete Godhead at the 9th level, those great emperors would definitely regard him as a threat. As long as he gives a little warning to the 11th level king below, he will face an endless pursuit unless he hides in the realm and cannot come out. You are lucky. If you're lucky enough to reach the 11th floor, it won't be called a chaos treasure. Emperor Xinyao glanced at Lin You, and his expression finally relaxed. After pondering for a moment, he continued, this time the chaos treasure appears. Every realm wants to seize the opportunity to compete for more luck, and trample other realms under their feet. Everyone who clears the 10th level, or above is very important to us. You have brought us a lot of luck, in the primitive world, So the Emperor wants to give me a reward. Lin Yu's eyes lit up instantly. I want a reward for reaching the 10th level. But you think the reward is cabbage? Emperor Xinyao said angrily, and gave Lin Yu a violent shudder, with his fist as big as a sandbag. However, he seemed to be in a good mood, so he did not exert any force, but continued, the Chaos Treasure will last 10 days before disappearing. If you can clear the 11th level within this time, I can try my best to meet your request. Real? How can I still lie to you? Then I want a few 10th level troop upgrade scrolls. Okay, upgrade scrolls. How many more? You know how to open your mouth like a lion. Okay, if you can really clear the 11th floor, and win more luck for our primitive world, I can give you 10 of them. Emperor Xinyao obviously didn't believe that Lin Yu could pass the 11th level, so he casually agreed to Lin Yu's request, and increased the reward to 10. Okay, it's a deal. Lin Yu was overjoyed. Upgrading royal arms has always been his biggest headache, especially as the higher the level, the more resources required for upgrading become exaggerated. Upgrading in the normal way is simply not possible, but if there is an upgrade scroll, it will be different. At least it can save him a lot of resources. So in these 11 levels of trials, he had to pass everything, but before that, he had to accumulate more strength. The first is the corpse. No matter whether it is a monster corpse, or a soldier corpse, as long as it can trigger bloody madness, and they all need to be at level 9, otherwise the energy contained in low-level corpses is too low and the improvement effect will be very limited. The second is the power of faith. While gaining faith, the Lord's basic strength will also increase. According to Lin Yu's observations along the way, he found that after reaching full faith, the strength of a lord will be basically equivalent to that of lord monsters of the same level, which means an average of 10,000 points of basic attributes. Coupled with the superposition of various strengthening auras such as holy objects, godhood, skills, etc., he can almost reach an average attribute of more than 20,000. Only in this way can he easily defeat the replicas on the 10th floor, with the help of bloody madness, leaving enough energy to enter the 11th floor. Otherwise, like just now, if you were seriously injured after a battle, and the power of the rules was exhausted, it would be impossible to defeat the 2 clones on the 11th floor. Only 9 days left. Lin Yu's eyes were serious, and he took a deep breath. 9 days were enough for him to make a lot of preparations. On the last day, if you accumulate all your strength and attack the 11th floor, you still have a good chance of success. With this idea in mind, he was quickly sent back to the ground by Emperor Xinyao. After walking around in the primitive world's team, they didn't find Yan Lai and the others, so they rushed back to the war camp. While on the way, I finally had the opportunity to take out the 2 rewards I had just received from the Tower of Luck. Faith in the Force and Rule Fragments. Needless to say, Rule Fragments are an important resource of the 10th level, and their preciousness is absolutely unimaginable. And because his Path of Saint mission has been completed, there is no word exclusive behind this rewarded Rule Fragment, which means it can be traded. After putting away the Rule Fragments, Lin Yu looked at another thing. A deep light group surrounded by gray aura. Just by holding it in his hand, he could feel an extremely strong power of faith flowing through his fingertips. Name: Faith in the Force. Grade: Rare. Function: after use, gain 10,000 points of power of faith. Introduction: a magical world force that contains extremely huge power of faith. 10,000 points of faith. Lin Yu stopped breathing and looked happily at the information interface in front of him. I didn't expect that the reward for clearing the 10th floor would be this. This may not be anything to a lord of level 10 or above, but for him now, it is definitely a real help in times of need. His problem of lack of faith was solved in one fell swoop. You can get 10,000 faith by clearing 10 levels once. If you clear all the levels in the remaining 9 days, it will add up to a full 100,000 faith, which is simply a big step forward. This is much faster than going around hunting down the Lords of the Realm Alliance. Think about it. Lin Yu speeded up, rushed back to the war camp, teleported directly to the territory, and then took the Force of Faith to the World Tree to use it. In the blink of an eye, his faith has increased to 60,000, and his strength has improved slightly. After doing this, I took a look at the Principality channel, and found that the Lords had returned from the battlefield in the realm one after another, and they were all chatting about the Tower of Luck. Haha. I cleared the 5th level, and got a very powerful territorial relic. What do you think this means? I cleared the 6th level and was directly rewarded with a territory upgrade scroll. Damn it, then you can go directly to level 7. It's so sour. I was eliminated on the 3rd level, and I don't dare to speak. It's the same as the 3rd level. We can only continue to work hard tomorrow, and strive to reach a higher level. By the way, do any of you know who the 9th level boss is, who has reached the 11th level? Anyway, he is definitely not from our principality. He is probably the chief of some empire, right, chief? It is usually used to address the top lord of a certain level in a country. A person like this who can climb to the 11th level, with a 9th level body is definitely not accessible to people like them who are generally only on the 5th or 6th level. Therefore, many lords only regarded it as a casual conversation after dinner, and were soon overwhelmed by more topics about the Tower of Luck. "My lord, I need to see you for something." At this moment, a shout sounded outside the territory. Shua Changui and several stewards stood outside the vine forest of ivy, waiting quietly. "Come in." Lin Yu had a thought in his mind, and asked Qing Ting to make way for them. After a while, Shua Changui and several stewards came to him through the forest and reported to him the construction status of the new city during this period. What surprised Lin Yu very much, in less than 2 months, the infrastructure of the new city has been basically completed, and a city wall has been built 20 kilometers away from the forest to protect the entire city. Nowadays, the urban area of Huangsha City has been divided into the forest central city area within the forest, and the outer city area outside the forest. The area at both ends of the city is nearly 50 kilometers. It has gradually become like a million-level city. The World Tree in his territory is located in the center of the entire city, and can be vaguely seen as soon as you enter the outer city. It's done well. If we improve the facilities, we can gradually arrange the population. After listening to the reports from Shua Changui and others, Lin Yu nodded with satisfaction. As his territory expands, the speed at which he will gain the power of faith will become much faster, so we cannot be careless. It was the abundant funds provided by the Lord that allowed us to achieve our goal so quickly. Xu Zhong said respectfully. One more thing. At this time, Shua Changui spoke up again. Recently, there have been many families, academies, and training sects from the capital that want to set up portals in our Huangsha city, and there are many 9th level experts. How do you think the Lord should deal with them? The power of the capital. Lin Yu was slightly surprised. Since they want to settle in, just let them settle in. There are more 9th level practitioners, which will also be beneficial to the defense of our city. I may have to go out frequently during this period, so let Wang lead a team to negotiate with you. If there is anyone who disobeds the rules, don't worry, just kill the chicken to scare the monkeys. His current royal troop, apart from being unable to speak, is already very intelligent and can lead a team independently without any problem at all. Moreover, within the territory, the attributes of the soldiers will be blessed, so it is not difficult to deal with 9th level practitioners. But they are all big forces from the capital. Killing them may bring bad effects, Shua Changui said with some worry. It's okay. Those who disobey the rules or cause trouble can be dealt with directly. Lin Yu waved his hand towards him. Now is the critical time to establish order. Being too kind will only make them restless. I will solve it in the capital. Yes, Shua Changui and others responded quickly. With Lin Yu's words, they had nothing to worry about, so they could just go ahead and do it boldly, that's all. After chatting some more about the city's trade planning and trade routes, Shua Changui and others hurriedly left and went to the city to continue their supervision work. But what Lin Yu didn't know was, just when he was dealing with territorial matters in the capital of the Great Wilderness Principality, the king suddenly issued an emergency decree. All contacts between the capital and Huangsha City will be protected by the capital. As soon as this order came out, it immediately caused an uproar in the entire central area of the principality. All exchanges are protected, which is simply support on the surface, and it also represents the importance that the king attaches to Huangsha City. The major forces that originally looked down upon the remote city of Huangsha City sounded the alarm and smelled something unusual. To know, even the territories of the 9th level lords serving under the king have never received such treatment, not to mention that it was promulgated by the king himself. So soon, the top leaders of the major forces began to warn the people below, telling them not to cause trouble in Huangsha City. Especially those forces that are preparing to develop branches in Huangsha City have received multiple warnings to let them stay calm in Huangsha City. Some even brought gifts specifically for this purpose. Certainly, these are all things done by the people below. As a lord, Lin Yu naturally has no time to pay attention to such trivial matters. After handing over all the tasks, he continued to work in the territory and began to prepare for the next battle. In a blink of an eye, the night passed. As soon as the sky lit up, Lin Yu got up, washed up, had some breakfast, and then teleported directly to the war camp. Today he has to pass the 10th level trial again to get rewards, so he must seize the time to collect more corpses. As for the source of the corpse, we can only go to the Tower of Luck to have a look first. Lin Yu, just as he was thinking about it, a shout rang out. Ji Yunshuang, who was wearing a set of light yellow clothes, happened to be teleported from the territory. You came so early too. Lin Yu stepped forward and said hello. Seeing Ji Yunshuang, he suddenly thought of something. The final countdown skill of her Holy Arbiter unit, if it can be copied by Tunton, will be of great help to him in passing the trial. After all, now that the number of soldiers has increased, the skill of summoning a sea of flowers is no longer of much use to him. As long as he can copy the final countdown skill, he will have one more chance to regain his full status. What are you thinking about? So absorbed. Seeing Lin You standing there, Ji Yunshuang couldn't help but ask doubtfully. Oh, it's nothing. I just need your help with something. Lin Yu came back to his senses and said quickly, looking for my help. Yes. Don't you have a holy arbiter soldier? I would like to ask you for a soldier's body. Is that convenient? So it's this. I thought it was some big deal. Of course it's no problem. Ji Yunshuang smiled. She didn't ask why Lin Yu's troops could copy the angel-type skills, and there was no need to ask. What she cared about was that Lin Yu asked her to help. It was rare for this guy to ask for help. What Lin Yu didn't expect was that in Ji Yunshuang's space, there were several corpses of the sacred arbiters left casually before, so very quickly, he got the corpse, had it absorbed by Tunton, and successfully copied the final countdown skill. Originally, the piranha with this ordinary skill couldn't be copied because the compatibility was too poor. However, Swallowing Sky's deprivation skill can be copied on a specific basis, making the impossible possible and allowing Lin Yu to use an additional skill from another system. This is the power of swallowing heaven. Okay, I'm going to the station to find my dad. Let's talk again when we have a chance. Well, I will be near the center of the battlefield during this period. If you have anything, please contact me at any time. The current relationship between Lin Yu and Ji Yunshuang is like old friends, who have known each other for many years, and they basically know the ins and outs of each other. So naturally we didn't say too many polite words, we said goodbye to each other, and everyone went about their own business. From beginning to end, Ji Yunshuang never asked about the Tower of Luck. It seems that there is really something urgent to do, or the news has not been received yet. This is good, and it saves him from receiving too much attention. Lin Yu didn't want the news that he had cleared the 10th floor to spread. If people from other hostile realms find out about it, someone might target him and send a high-ranking lord to deal with him, as a potential threat to eliminate future troubles. Especially the three realms of Yuansha, Zenling and Taixuan, which are clearly hostile to the primitive world, as well as the Realm Alliance, may attack him, so be careful. Think about it. Lin Yu withdrew his gaze and looked at the attributes of swallowing heaven. The deprivation skill had been replaced by the final countdown. Name: soul-eating flower swallowing the sky, royal family, race, plant, hero, level 9, 10,000 10,000ths, strength, 4,750, plus 4,750, physique, 5,000, plus 5,000, agility, 4,500, plus 4,500, spirit, 4,850, plus 4,850, skill, guarding barrier, expand the barrier within a range of 250 meters, causing 25% damage reduction to friendly parties within the range, lasting 5 seconds, and after the barrier disappears, all damage reduced will be converted into a defensive shield. Death devouring, awakening the power of devouring. It can swallow all things transformed by energy, including skills, and convert it into its own energy, repair injuries, and gain corresponding experience points. Corpse explosion. Explodes all corpses within the specified range, causing 150% spiritual attribute damage to the enemy. Final countdown. Start the countdown to regress all the status of the specified target to 1 minute ago. It can only take effect once every 10 minutes, and is invalid for dead targets. King of Flowers. Piranha-like soldiers gain 10% blood-sucking power. Introduction. A terrifying plant that awakens the power of devouring. Capable of devouring all things and depriving them of all energy. It is indeed a skill of the rare angel type. The effect is incredibly powerful. Reverting all states to 1 minute ago means that all the damage he received during this 1 minute will disappear. The skill cooldown and even the energy consumed will all be reversed and return to the state 1 minute ago. Lin Yu is still very satisfied with this skill, because in this way, he can launch 2 savage roars in a row. Even when you are seriously injured, you can rely on the skill to rewind time and return to the state before the injury. As for the clone's ability to copy his skills, he wasn't too worried, because the attribute bonus of the clone is invalid. Even resetting big skills like Savage Roar will have no effect. He can completely use this difference to widen the gap and find an opportunity to burst out a wave of instant kill clones. When the time comes, no matter how many times he resets, it will be of no avail. Quick! I heard there's a fight over at the Tower of Luck. Hurry up and help. Suddenly, an anxious cry interrupted Lin Yu's thoughts. He raised his head and saw several teams rushing towards them from a distance, and his eyes lit up. Are the two camps fighting again? It seems that the appearance of the Tower of Luck has finally aroused conflicts between the two camps. This is great news, because in this way, he can take advantage of the chaos to collect more corpses of soldiers. If you are lucky and kill a few people from the Realm Alliance, you can earn more merit to exchange for faith. Let's go and take a look. Without hesitation, he immediately summoned the demonic ancestral dragon to fly high into the sky, followed the lords, and rushed towards the central wasteland at the junction of the two armies. Until more than half an hour later, only then did he finally vaguely see the black sky falling from the sky, and the Tower of Luck standing in the sky. Around the tower, the Lord teams of the Realm Alliance and the Anti-Alliance camp collided fiercely, and shouts and roars continued to be heard. The whole scene was in chaos, with people on both sides of the tower fighting for the right to use the Tower of Luck. They actually want to occupy the Tower of Luck and prevent us from entering. The Realm Alliance is too arrogant. Come on, let's go down and help. Rush. The arriving lords from all walks of life shouted loudly and immediately turned around to join the battle below. Lin You took a look and saw that almost all the lords in the center of the battle were 8th and 9th level lords, while the lower level lords were on the periphery. There was a melee everywhere, and the ground was filled with corpses of soldiers. It is simply a natural source of corpses. Then, he looked at the information on the tower. I found that there were a few more 9th level lords on the 10th floor than yesterday, and almost all of them were people from the big realm. He wasn't surprised. After all, the Tower of Luck arrived so suddenly yesterday that many lords had not had time to prepare and did not understand the content of the trial, so they were completely unable to exert their full strength. Now that one day has passed, the genius lords from all walks of life have also exerted their efforts and begun to attack the 9th level trial, and the results are much better than yesterday. However, what surprised Lin You the most was the 11th floor. There is an extra 9th level lord. The 11th floor of the Tower of Luck. Level 12, None. Level 11, Void Realm 101, Demonic Realm 100, Holy Light Realm 100. Level 10, Beast God Realm 4, Atlan Realm 4, Eternal Realm 4. Level 9, Primitive Realm 1, Origin Realm 1. Origin World. Seeing the name of the realm above, Lin Yu's eyes narrowed, and a figure suddenly appeared in his mind. The dark-eyed young man, who had fought against him twice, because he knew very well how difficult the trial on the 10th level was. Generally, 9th level lords would find it difficult to pass even if they had condensed fragments of their godhead. Only a host with that heart can display a strength that far exceeds that of a lord of the same level, and successfully pass the 10th level test. Could it be that? Is that guy the lord in the Origin world? Lin Yu was shocked and confused. The two realms of Teichu and Origin are said to be the two most powerful realms among all realms. They rarely participate in the battles of all realms, let alone pay attention to the life and death of other realms. It may not be easy for the emperors to go in and conduct a search, and he didn't have enough evidence to prove that the heart was in the Origin world. It seems that we should pay more attention to the movements of the Origin world in the future. Lin Yu thought secretly in his heart, his eyes gradually becoming serious. But right away, he was pulled back by the shouts of death below. Seeing the two sides fighting fiercely, with corpses everywhere, they no longer wasted time, circled to the ground, summoned an army of plants, and rushed directly towards the center of the battle circle. At the front of the team, the ancient tree legion led by King Gong was clearing the way. With the blessing of the four divine heads, it continued to advance forward like a bulldozer on the battlefield. The sword bamboo in its hand kept waving, splitting out sharp sword energy. The other royal families were not idle either. They led their own teams to launch attacks on the troops of the surrounding border alliances, specifically targeting those troops with strong blood. Brothers, rush together, drive the people from the Realm Alliance out of the Tower of Luck, kill. At this moment, the anti-alliance camp launched another fierce attack, pushing back the Realm Alliance that had just occupied the bottom of the tower. Everywhere he went, there were corpses of soldiers all over the ground. Lin Yaoguang almost felt weak when picking up the corpses, and he was smiling from ear to ear. In less than half an hour, his space was filled with 20,000 corpses, all of which were properly sealed. Originally, he wanted to stuff more, but the original space could only hold so much. This is because he used up the space originally used to store troops. Seeing that the space was full, the team advanced to the edge of the Tower of Luck. He also took this opportunity to recall the troops to the territory, and then teleported directly into the tower. Many lords from the anti-alliance camp also entered the tower like him. As the number of people on their side decreased, the Realm Alliance pressed back again, and occupied the bottom of the tower again. Many people followed and entered the tower. The teams on both sides were seeing each other back and forth, gradually forming a kind of cycle, and no one could do anything to the other. This also resulted in constant fighting in the wasteland, with shouts of killing shaking the sky, but these have nothing to do with Lin You, for the time being. At this time, he has been teleported to the space on the first floor, preparing for the second round of trials, but it was beyond his expectation. This first level test was completely different from yesterday. It turned into a large venue full of arenas. On every stage, there are basically two figures fighting. There was a huge crowd all around, filled with 9th level lords from all walks of life, cheering for the battle on the stage. Go on, kick him in the balls as hard as you can. Poke him in the butt. Keep going. Don't stop. Great job. Get rid of him quickly. There was a lot of noise in the entire venue, with the sounds of fighting and fierce collisions constantly coming to my ears. Lin Yu's hang was confused, and a reminder immediately sounded in his mind. Please note that you have arrived at the first floor of the Tower of Luck. The content of the trial on this level is defending battle. Defeat 10 enemies in a row in the arena to advance to the next level. Challenges in the arena are all random and cannot be assigned. Everyone has 3 chances to challenge. Defeat 10 enemies, and still defeated continuously. Lin Yu couldn't help but be surprised when he heard the rules of the trial. No wonder so many lords gathered here. It turned out to be because of this. Obviously, trials in the Tower of Luck are randomly assigned. However, the first 2 levels of trials are still based on extremely high elimination rates, which are used to eliminate most of the lords with the lowest strength first. Defeating 10 opponents in a row, and even opponents of the same level, is not something that anyone can do easily. This requires not only luck, but also your own strength as support. Without some means, you may not be able to get through it. Certainly, Lin Yu was rushing to the 10th floor, so naturally he didn't have time to waste on the trial on the first floor. After walking around the various arenas, and observing the battles between the lords, he directly chose to challenge. Aha! The light comes on. Lin Yu was instantly teleported to a ring where the battle had just ended. Ha! Someone teleported up again. Ha ha! Another unlucky guy was randomly assigned to this stage. As soon as he stood still, there was a sound of gloating from the side, because the champion of the ring where Lin Yu was standing was a guy who had won 8 consecutive victories. He was so strong that basically every lord who went up could last for less than a minute before being defeated. The edge of the ring was even crowded with lords from all walks of life, who came to see how those who came to challenge were tortured. Brother, I advise you to surrender quickly. That guy is not easy to mess with, a lord below shouted to Lin Yu, on the stage, seeming to be advising and also joking. I bet he'll be down in less than a minute. 1 minute, too long. 40 seconds at most, more than 30 seconds at most. The other lords were talking a lot, wondering how long Lin Yu could last on stage. Some simply made bets, making the entire arena lively. Lin Yu ignored them and looked at his opponent this time, a man with a thin stature, but exuding a cold aura, wearing black leather armor from head to toe. He looked like he was a humanoid lord, because the racial talent of the humanoid system is to improve the bonus effect of equipment. Therefore, basically every humanoid lord will specially create a set of equipment suitable for him or her to maximize his own strength. But if you don't want to die too badly, it's still too late to admit defeat. The humanoid lord was also looking at Lin Yu. When he could no longer feel the aura of rules on him, his expression became indifferent. A pair of daggers flew in his hands, shining with a cold light, as if they were demonstrating to Lin Yu. The fight hasn't even started yet. How do you know I'm going to lose? Lin Yu raised his eyebrows and looked at the other party with interest. The equipment on this person is not weak, it is all 9th level. With the blessing of racial talent, the effect is indeed impressive. Unfortunately, the other party didn't give him a chance to take a closer look. Since you don't want to admit defeat, I'll just send you away. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a sudden explosion under his feet, and his whole body turned into sharp arrows and swooped towards him. The speed was so fast that it immediately caused an exclamation of surprise. Lin Yu didn't expect the other party to be so direct. His eyes narrowed and he turned to dodge the oncoming dagger. Unexpectedly, at this time, the body of the humanoid lord suddenly dissipated and disappeared out of thin air in front of him. After image, Lin Yu's expression changed slightly. He did not feel the breath of the power of rules, which meant that this was an incidental effect of the equipment. Aha! Suddenly, a cold light flashed. The humanoid lord holding a dagger appeared directly on the other side, stabbing his throat with the dagger. Lin Yu's step sank. He leaned back and kicked the humanoid lord's arm away with a knee, and at the same time drew his sword and slashed out. But what hit him was the afterimage left by the other party, which disappeared from sight again. It seems that the effects of this guy's equipment should be assassination type effects, or the ability to assist assassination. Since you like to hide, then I'll leave you nowhere to hide. Lin Yu raised the corners of his mouth, and the power of rules was secretly operating. The next second, with a loud bang, the ground of the arena was broken open, and a large number of vines rushed out, spreading rapidly around the entire arena. What? The face of the humanoid lord, who was about to launch an attack, changed drastically. Before he could react, he was hit by a vine and was knocked away. His hidden figure was also forced out. The power of rules. He is actually a big boss, who has condensed his divine power. The lords who were watching the battle in the audience were also stunned by this sudden scene, and they all exclaimed. Among the lords who can successfully condense the fragments of the godhead at the 9th level, which one is not the best among all the people in the world? Take out any one of them, it is an extremely terrifying existence, and it is also an existence that countless lords look up to. Stop talking about them. Even the humanoid lord, who was fighting Lin You on the stage, was so shocked that his eyes widened and he forgot to attack. But immediately, he reacted, gritted his teeth, avoided being surrounded by vines, and attacked Lin You again. This time, he held back no more. The 2 daggers in his hands burst out with endless sharpness, and he clicked his feet twice on the ring, then suddenly dodged and shrank back more than 10 meters in an instant, appearing in front of Lin You. The dagger, imbued with powerful power, seemed to tear open the space, and flashed past Lin Yu's throat. Tear! A harsh sound broke through the air. The humanoid lord's dagger did not feel the touch of hitting the target, causing his expression to change suddenly, and he ducked to the side almost out of instinct. Boom! There was an explosion, and several vines full of spikes rushed out from under his feet, cutting a huge gash in his thigh. Lin You, who was supposed to be in the center of the field, appeared at the edge of the ring at some point. As soon as he raised his big hand, countless vines sprang up crazily and surrounded him. The humanoid lord moved left and right, dodging back and forth, and used his dagger to cut through the vines. But the growing vines in the arena, gradually being enveloped by plants, made him deeply feel Lin Yu's terror. Finally, he stopped struggling and hurriedly shouted into the air, "I surrender." The decisiveness of admitting defeat was completely different from the previous one, and the moment the voice fell, his whole person was wrapped in light and disappeared in place, leaving only a large area of plants on the field and Lin You standing alone among the plants. There was silence all around, and everyone stared at the changes on the field with wide eyes. How can the arena look like an arena at this time? It has long since turned into a terrifying forest covered with vines. So strong. Is this the power of rules? Even that guy lost. Who is he? The lords who reacted were all shocked, frightened by the terrifying strength displayed by Lin You. Even the lords from other nearby arenas were attracted by the scene here, and ran over to inquire about the situation. A man who had won 8 consecutive victories was defeated so easily. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who would dare to believe it? It also made them fear Lin You, and not dare to get even close to the ring. Aha! Just then, the light came on. A young lord, who chose to challenge, was randomly placed on the ring where Lin You was. When he saw the plants all over the field, the young lord suddenly turned pale, and couldn't help but retreat. I give up. How could he dare to stay on the field? He chose to admit defeat without thinking, and disappeared again. The whole process only took less than 5 seconds. Lin You had a weird look on his face. He didn't expect that the forest he created would actually act as a deterrent, but this was good. It saved him a lot of energy, so he just kept doing nothing, and used the power of the rules again to summon a violet garden and a dark blue fantasy, and finally completely transformed the arena into a terrifying forest that no one dared to set foot in. Then the lords below witnessed a strange scene with their own eyes. Every lord who was randomly placed on Lin Yu's stage just took one look around, and immediately chose to admit defeat without even hesitating. No way. Those who possess fragments of the godhead are ruthless people, who have independently killed 10th level leader monsters. How could ordinary lords like them afford such a powerful person? Only a fool would do it. This also resulted in Lin You standing on the stage without doing anything and easily accumulated 10 consecutive victories. Then, with a system prompt, he was teleported directly out of the 1st level of space. The god of plague is finally gone. Seeing him leaving, the surrounding lords breathed a sigh of relief, and they all felt relieved. Some people have not even dared to challenge since just now, just because they are afraid that they will accidentally end up on Lin Yu's stage. Fortunately, this plague god did not stay on the 1st floor for too long. They finally relaxed, and resumed the fierce battle in the ring the other side. After Lin Yu reached the 2nd floor, he was still the same as on the 1st floor, and did not encounter any opponents who could pose a threat to him. Just like this, he fought all the way up, and he soon reached the 9th level of space. This time luck is no longer as good as yesterday. Among the 10 lord monsters, the beast type, elemental type, and demon type all have fire attributes. It cost him more than 2,000 corpses before he finally survived unharmed, and successfully climbed to the 10th level of space. The trial on the 10th level is different from the previous levels, and there are not many changes. As soon as Lin You teleported over, a copy that looked exactly like him appeared on the opposite side. Considering that the last time we used more than 7,000 corpses, We almost failed. This time he directly devoured the blood of 10,000 corpses, increasing his strength to the point where he could completely suppress the clones. It was finally more than 5 minutes later that he was successfully killed. Congratulations, you successfully passed the 10th level trial. It will be transferred to the next level soon. Please be prepared. A familiar reminder sounded in Lin Yu's mind. He glanced at the 8,000 corpses remaining in the original space, hesitated, and finally chose to give up the challenge. No way. With his current strength, he could only narrowly defeat one clone by consuming 8,000 corpses. Facing two at the same time, the chance is still too slim. It's better to save these corpses and save them for climbing the tower tomorrow. When the power of faith is enough, and the strength becomes stronger, it will not be too late to challenge again. Would you like to give up and continue the challenge? Give up? Congratulations, you have received rewards. Origin Core X2, Faith in the Force X1. You are about to leave the space in the tower. Please be prepared. Original Crystal Core, not a rule fragment. Lin Yu was stunned for a moment when he heard the reward information, and then his eyes lit up. An Origin Crystal Core can increase the upper limit of the origin space by 1 kilometer. Although it doesn't increase his strength much, it can hold more corpses. This reward comes at a good time. Just thinking about it, he was also enveloped in light and disappeared directly. Lin Yu, who came out of the Tower of Luck, made a special trip back to his territory to use up the source crystal core he had just obtained. Then he immediately rushed to the demon-subduing world, and went to various places on the battlefield to find monsters above the leader level, collect the original power, and expand the scope of the original space. I kept running like this until evening. He finally raised the extra 2,000 meters to the maximum limit, and he was lucky enough to kill a few lord monsters, and get a few treasures. He currently has no less than 50 treasures stored in his personal space. They are all obtained by killing lord monsters on the battlefield during this period, and there are many types, from all types, and they are all at least S level, and above certainly. These things are no longer of much use to him who has reached the 9th level. It seems we have to find a place to take action. Sitting on the back of Demon Zulong, Lin Yu looked at a lot of things in his personal space with a thoughtful expression. It's okay to leave these treasures alone. It would be more practical to replace them with resources that are useful to him. He remembered that every night in the war camp, there would be a lot of people setting up stalls, selling things they didn't use. Just take this opportunity to get rid of all these treasures, and you should be able to get a lot of merit points. Thinking of this, the demon ancestor dragon under him suddenly accelerated, and rushed back towards the war camp. And at this time, in a dense forest not far from here, run, quick! An anxious cry echoed in the forest. Two figures were running in the forest in embarrassment, with a dying figure carrying a bloody figure on their backs. Behind the three people, a large black shadow surged, and the sky was filled with dense insect soldiers. Two 9th level lords with strong momentum were in the insect swarm, chasing them closely. Yanwu, take him away first. I'll hold them back. Seeing the opponent chasing after him, Bai Haitang, who was running away, gritted his teeth, summoned the remaining 100 or so angel troops, and turned around to look at the sky. You'll die if you do this. Yanwu turned around, his face was covered with blood. He didn't know whether it was his own or Yin Tange's on his back. Let's go. If we don't go, we will die here. Bai Haitang shouted anxiously. Want to escape? You can't escape. At this time, the two 9th level lords in the sky have already arrived. The insect soldiers all over the sky, and the wild beast soldiers surging in the forest turned into a tide and crazily emerged, finally completely blocking all their escape routes. Damn it. Yanhua's face was gloomy. They were only at the 8th level, and there was no way they could be the opponents of the 9th level lord. They didn't expect that they would be so unlucky that they would encounter two Realm Alliance lords, who came specifically to hunt down low-level lords. It's just a face-to-face effort. Yin Tiange was seriously injured, and fell into a coma. The two of them were also seriously injured. It was impossible to escape. We have no choice but to fight with them. Bai Haitang gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with unwillingness and resentment. At this time, there were many damages on her body, all of which were scratched wounds, and almost all of her white clothes were dyed red. Seeing that his escape route was blocked, Yanwu put Yin Tiange, who was seriously injured and unconscious, on the ground. He also summoned dozens of elemental soldiers to come out and form a circle back-to-back with Bai Haitang's angel soldiers, preparing for a desperate fight. Fuck me, get rid of them. Following the loud shouts of the two 9th level lords, the surging beast troops and insect troops turned into a tide and surrounded them, launching a fierce attack on Yanwu and the two. All of a sudden, their troops continued to fall, overwhelmed by the beasts and insects that rushed up. The two struggled to hold on, but they could only watch as their troops continued to decrease. Finally, the defense line was broken, and a 9th level Black Panther turned into an afterimage and flew toward Bai Haitang, careful. Yan Wu shouted in shock, drew his weapon and stepped in front of Bai Haitang. Boom. The violent collision knocked Yan Wu away. The weapon in his hand also broke with the sound, and there were several claw marks on his chest that were deep enough to see the bones, and blood flowed wildly. Yan Wu, Bai Haitang turned around in surprise. Unexpectedly, his waist and abdomen were cut open by the sharp air blade that flew down from the sky, and he fell to his knees with a groan. The severe pain made her vision blurry. Just under a minute, their defense was completely broken down, and they couldn't even resist. Are you dying? Bai Haitang reluctantly wanted to get up, but her increasingly distracted spirit prevented her from even standing up. In his blurry vision, he could see the soldiers that were drowning him, and the fierce faces of the two ninth-level lords. Finally, she closed her eyes silently, and everything she had experienced along the way flashed through her mind, waiting for death to come. But at this moment, a sudden change occurred. In the dark jungle, an invisible wave suddenly appeared and enveloped the three of them. The attacks that were about to fall on them also dissipated instantly under this wave of waves, as if they had never appeared. The strange scene suddenly caused the expressions of the two people in the sky to change, and they hurriedly looked towards the center of the fluctuation. There was a tall ancient tree exuding a natural aura, and a tall figure standing beside the ancient tree. People from the Realm Alliance dare to come to such a place. They are very courageous. Lin You looked indifferently, looking at the two people in the sky, and the three Yanwu people lying on the ground not far away. If he hadn't heard Bai Haitang's shout just now, he probably wouldn't have known they were being hunted and wouldn't have come so quickly. Without hesitation, he directly asked Lingxi to lead the Flower Spirit Army to provide emergency treatment to them, and then his eyes fell on the two people in the air again. Who did I think he was? It turns out that another man is here to die. Bai, you just want to stop the two of us. I'm afraid you don't know how to write the word death. Seeing that Lin Yu was alone, the two ninth-level lords, who were still a little nervous, suddenly relaxed and began to laugh unscrupulously, and their troops gradually spread out, surrounding Lin Yu. Now that you're here, leave your life behind. Go, tear him to pieces. With loud shouts, the two soldiers rushed out and attacked Lin Yu. The beast soldiers in the forest roared and rushed towards Lin Yu one by one. The expressions of the two people in the air became more and more ferocious, as if they had seen Lin Yu's blood splattered on the spot. But the next second, the expressions on their faces froze. In the dark jungle, countless huge vines suddenly emerged, like giant black pythons, twisting crazily in the forest. The beast soldiers that had just rushed up were immediately entangled in vines and were mummified amid screams. Immediately afterwards, large flaming red mushrooms were thrown high into the sky and landed among the insects. Boom, boom, boom. The violent explosion shook the entire sky. The terrifying power turned into air waves, drowning all the insects, and corpses continued to fall like rain, unable to withstand even a single blow. How can it be? The expressions of the two ninth-level lords changed wildly, and a turmoil arose in their hearts. In just one encounter, most of their troops were lost. What kind of evil monster did they encounter? Run away! The insect lord screamed in shock, turned around and ran away without thinking, driving the insect soldiers to escape from here. Boom. But at this moment, a burst of sparks exploded. A stream of red light infused with terrifying dragon fire swept out of the jungle. Before the insect lord could even use his life-saving measures, his chest was penetrated directly, exploding a large cloud of blood mist. Kill the ninth-level lord of the alien plane, obtain 200 million mana, 10 battlefield merit points, and ninth-level territory essence X1. As the prompt sounded, the remaining insect soldiers also died one after another and fell from the sky. No, the beast lord shouted in fear. Without his flying mount, he also fell from the sky and was immediately submerged by the influx of plants and torn into pieces. Kill the ninth-level lord of the alien plane, obtain 300 million mana, 10 battlefield merit points, and ninth-level territory essence X1. In the blink of an eye, both ninth-level lords died, providing Lin Yu with 500 million mana and 20 merit points. Come back. Lin Yu ignored their corpses. After recalling his troops, he immediately came to the Yanwu trio. With the unremitting efforts of Lingxi and the Flower Jing army, the three of them were finally out of danger and woke up leisurely. Where am I? Yanwu propped up his body, looking confused. He remembered that he had been overwhelmed by the beasts just now, and had to be cut into pieces on the spot. Confused, he couldn't help but look around, and saw Lin Yu squatting aside. Are you Lin Yu? Yanwu was stunned for a moment, and his eyes suddenly widened. Hearing his exclamation, Bai Haitang and Yin Tianj, who had just woken up, were also startled, and looked over. It's me. You are seriously injured. Don't move yet. Lin Yu secretly used the power of rules to create a simple backrest with vines behind them. Lin Yu, it's really you. How will you be here? Yanwu and the other three were shocked, and had no idea what was happening. Then, they saw the corpses of beasts and insects strewn all around on the ground, as well as the dilapidated humanoid corpses in the distance, and they became even more shocked. Those two people from the Realm Alliance were killed by you. At this moment, they were really completely shocked. Two such powerful 9th level lords, and the guy who forced them into a desperate situation, actually died like this. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't even believe it was true. Are you already at the 9th level? Yin Tianj asked in shock. Since Lin Yu reached the 9th level, he has hidden all his name information, so they don't know Lin Yu's specific strength at this time, but since he can kill the 9th level lord, he must have reached the 9th level. How long has passed? Not to mention him, even Yin Wu and Bai Haitang looked shocked and looked at Lin Yu, in disbelief. Bai Haitang's originally bright eyes couldn't help but dim a bit. She worked so hard to improve, but she still couldn't close the gap, and it even got further and further away. I just rose to the 9th level, some time ago, Lin Yu said calmly. The same goes for you. You have risen to the 8th level so quickly. That's not as good as a pervert like you. Yin Tianj said with a bitter smile. That's right. We obviously escaped from the lower plane together, but you are still so far ahead. It's really irritating. Yan Wu also said helplessly. However, there was not much jealousy in their words, and they seemed to have expected such a result. After all, Lin Yu was already one step ahead of them the last time they saw each other, and it was not so easy to catch up. Congratulations, Bai Haitang said softly. After hearing the words of Yan and Wu, she felt relieved a lot. Thank you. Lin Yu smiled slightly. Naturally, he could feel their thoughts, so he did not stop at the topic of level, but asked about the causes and consequences of their pursuit. Then the few of them chatted about their current situation, while recovering from their injuries in the forest. You mean, the Realm Alliance has made new moves? In the dark jungle, Lin Yu looked at Yanwu and the others in surprise. Just now, when they were talking about why they were being hunted by the Realm Alliance, Yin Tianj unexpectedly revealed an unexpected piece of information. The people in the Realm Alliance seem to be carrying out some unknown plan. Actually, we're not sure either, Yin Tianj said solemnly. Originally, we just wanted to go deeper to see if we could find the Lord Monster, but we saw the troops of the Realm Alliance stationed deep in this dense forest, seeming to be digging for something. Digging? Lin Yu gradually frowned, noticing something unusual. Those guys from the Realm Alliance can do anything to achieve their goals. Now they have secretly sent troops over again. Obviously they have no good intentions. What about now? Are they still there? He asked again. They should be gone. Yan Wu shook his head. When we were discovered, they seem to have been retreating, leaving only two 9th level ones to chase us. Besides, it was too dark, and we were only focused on escaping. We couldn't even remember where we were. That's it. Lin Yu lowered his head and groaned after hearing this. His brows furrowed deeper. The scope of this dense forest stretches for at least thousands of miles. Trying to find something specially buried in it is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Before you know what the Realm Alliance is up to, it's better not to act rashly. Thinking of this, he said, in this case, let's leave here quickly to avoid being chased by pursuers. Well, let's go back first. At this time, the three people's injuries have recovered a lot under the treatment of the flower essence. Although they have not fully recovered, they no longer affect their actions. Lin Yu stood up and briefly disposed of the corpses around him, then flew them out of the dense forest, and rushed back towards the war camp. Until half an hour later, a few people finally took advantage of the darkness to return to the brightly lit camp. Tonight's camp was as usual, with a large number of lords from all walks of life gathered. Various stalls were set up on the roadside, and there was endless shouting. After passing through the crowd and arriving outside the cross-border teleportation formation, the three Yanwu people all turned back to look at Lin Yu. Just send it here. We lost a lot of troops today, and were so seriously injured. We have to go back to the territory to recuperate for a few days. Yin Tianj said first. Okay, I will be here during this period. If you need anything, please contact me anytime. Lin Yu nodded silently. Then, he thought of something, opened the trading interface, and traded an amount of magic energy to each of the three people. This is it. Bai Haitang looked at him doubtfully. The magic energy I got from dealing with those two guys just now is not much, so let's take it and use it first, Lin Yu said with a smile. When the three of them heard this, they couldn't help but look at the transaction interface, and were shocked. 50 million. Yan Wu blurted out an exclamation, looking very shocked. 50 million magic energy is definitely a huge sum of money for an 8th level lord. The total assets of many 8th level lords only amount to this much. Three people had 150 million magic energy. You can imagine how shocked they were. Take it, consider it your reward for luring those two guys out, Lin Yu said calmly. This amount of magic power is nothing to him now, and he can easily earn it. After all, Yanwu and the others had shared difficulties with him, and they were one of the few friends who could be close to each other, so they naturally wanted to help him with this small favor. It also happened to allow them to speed up their strength improvement, so that they would not be nearly killed by the 9th level lord like today. But, Bai Haitang opened his mouth, looking a little hesitant. On the contrary, Yanwu and Yin Tianj were more open-minded and said with a smile, since you said so, I won't be polite. I just don't have money to recruit troops. I won't be polite with the money you bring to your door. Thank you. If you need anything in the future, just call me. After saying that, just choose to receive it directly. Bai Haitang hesitated for a moment, and finally took over the magic energy. Thank you. Obviously, she also knew the gap between herself and Lin You. Although this amount of magic power cannot allow her to catch up with Lin You, it can at least bring her closer so that she will not be thrown too far away. Yanwu and Yin Tianj probably also had this idea, so they accepted it so readily. After all, they were also the first group of people in the entire region to leave the novice village, so their talent was natural. It's just a matter of time before you become stronger, that's all. After saying goodbye to each other at the edge of the cross-border teleportation array, the three of them took the cross-border teleportation array and teleported back to their territory until they are all gone. Lin You then turned around and left, going to the open space with people coming and going, ready to find a suitable place to set up a stall and see if he could exchange all the treasures on his body for faith. However, what he didn't expect was, after just a few steps, a familiar loud voice suddenly came from the distance. Come, take a look. The freshly baked top-quality treasures are on sale at cheap prices. From a distance, Lin You could hear it. It was a stern voice. Unexpectedly, this guy was also setting up a stall in the camp, so he immediately followed the sound and walked over. As expected, not far away, he saw Yanlai standing shirtless next to the stall, shouting at the top of his voice, completely ignoring his image as a 9th level lord. Not to mention, those hideous scars looked quite intimidating. The low-ranking lords were so scared that they didn't dare to get close. Yanlai, why are you setting up a stall here? Lin You walked through the crowd and walked directly over. Lin You, are you here too? Seeing him appear, Yanlai in front of the stall was suddenly surprised, but immediately, he said, hey, isn't this the lack of money in the recent development of the territory? Sell the unused treasures and replaced equipment to earn some resources. How about you? Come and set up a stall. Well, I want to sell something. Lin You nodded and glanced at the open space next to Yanlai. Is it okay to put it next to you? Of course it's no problem. I'm just bored, and you came just in time. Yanlai grinned and directly gave up the open space next to him, and also cleaned up the debris for Lin You. Then Lin You took out a stall from his personal space, set it up, and began to organize things. Looking at you, have you just come back from outside? Yanlai asked casually. Well, something happened, Lin You said while packing things. Then he suddenly remembered that he had just learned the news about the Realm Alliance, so he mentioned this matter to Yanlai. Unexpectedly, after Yanlai listened to his words, his expression suddenly became surprised. Did you also see the Realm Alliance digging for things? What, have you seen it too? Lin You was stunned for a moment, looking a little surprised. Yes, it's in a desert near the base camp of the Realm Alliance. Yanlai scratched his head and said, this happened a few days ago. At that time, Situ and I were preparing to go to the desert to find Lord monsters. As a result, we happened to encounter a lot of lords from the Realm Alliance digging or burying something in the desert thing. Anyway, it's very strange, and it's also hidden by something that looks like an illusion. We just bumped into it by chance, but there were too many of them. We just took a look at them from a distance and ran away immediately. Yanlai's face was full of memories, as if he was trying to recall the original scene. Lin You was even more surprised when he heard this desert area. In addition to that dense forest, the Realm Alliance also carried out the same actions in other places. From this point of view, things are not as simple as he thought. I am afraid that the Realm Alliance is preparing for some big move again. We need to be careful during this time, but if the sky falls, there will still be tall people holding it up, since even they can discover it. It is obviously impossible for the emperors not to know about the little moves of the Realm Alliance. What he has to do now is to seize the time to improve his strength. Only when you are strong enough can you deal with all kinds of accidents calmly. Thinking of this, he put this matter aside for the time being and began to set up the stall seriously. Good luck today. In just half the night, he had exchanged more than 20 treasures and acquired a total of 20,000 faith. Until almost late at night, he just said goodbye to Yanlai and took the cross-border formation to teleport back to his territory, finally ending this busy daytime flies. In the blink of an eye, it was the 10th day of the Tower of Luck's arrival. During these few days, Lin You traveled between the Tower of Luck and the battlefield every day, participating in countless battles, large and small. Finally, on the last day, I accumulated 180,000 beliefs, and I was only 70,000 short of being upgraded to the 10th level. Even the original space has increased to 30,000 meters due to the trial rewards in the past few days. Name, World Tree, Origin, Category, Plants, Level 9, 30,000 30,000s, Range 30,000 meters, Sacred Object Effect, all attributes plus 48%, Shield plus 24%, Talent Effect, Physical Fitness plus 32%, Recovery Speed plus 32%, Ability, Soul Domain, Racial Talent, Halo, Summoning Space, Storage. Introduction. It is formed by the condensation of souls. When it grows to a certain extent, it can evolve into a world and needs the power of the source to irrigate it. Note. Click here to expand the talents of each department. The increase in spatial range not only greatly improved his strength, but also increased the inventory of corpses. Excluding the space occupied by the origin tree, it can accommodate 25,000 corpses. Finally, we have the conditions to attack the 11th floor of the Tower of Luck. And this morning, as soon as the sun rose, Lin You left the camp with everything and arrived outside the Tower of Luck, probably because it was the last day. Surprisingly, the lords of both camps did not take action again. They all gathered on the wasteland early, preparing to make a last-ditch effort to win more luck for their realm. Let's go in together. Next to Lin You, Situ Jan, who had rushed over with him, whispered, his expression more serious than ever, because he has already inquired about it. Due to luck, the number of emperors in the primitive world has reached saturation. If you want to give birth to a new emperor, you must get more luck. Otherwise, unless the emperor falls, they will never be able to achieve the throne. Although this is still very far away for them, as long as there is a slight chance to improve, they still have to try their best to fight for it. What if the next great emperor is them? After all, no one can predict what will happen in the future. Aha! The light comes on. Lin You finally appeared on the first floor of the Tower of Luck. The lords of other realms also teleported into the tower, and began the last day of trials. Do you think anyone will be able to pass the top of the tower on this last day? On the wasteland outside the tower, some lords who were watching and had not yet entered the tower started talking in low voices. It's probably impossible at the top of the tower. Didn't you see that the Dragon Emperor of the Beast God realm, and the Holy Emperor of the Holy Light realm, both failed? Let alone the 13th floor, the only ones who can reach the 12th floor are the great emperors, from all walks of life. After several days of preparation, the number of clearances on each floor of the Tower of Luck has basically been finalized, especially at the top level. It is almost impossible to make big changes. Therefore, most of the lords' attention was focused on the 9th to 11th floors, because although these levels are not as good as the top level, they still have a large proportion in the distribution of luck. Having one more lord to clear the level is equivalent to one more point of luck, and it is also the key level that all the lords are competing for on this final day. However, what they don't know is, while they were discussing which realms would ultimately stand out, there was a person who was passing level after level of trials at an extremely exaggerated speed. In less than 20 minutes, he rushed directly from the first floor to the 6th floor, staying on each floor for less than 5 minutes. And this person is none other than Lin You. The experience of climbing the tower in the past 9 days has made him memorize the various rules in the tower. He basically passes the trials in the shortest time without stopping at all, but this time something unexpected happened. When he climbed to the 6th floor, a powerful demon lord appeared opposite him. Astonishingly, it is Mammon, the 9th level lord in the demonic realm, who has condensed the fragments of his godhead. It's you. Mammon was also very surprised to see Lin You. Although he couldn't see Lin Yu's appearance clearly, he remembered the aura on Lin Yu's body, and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. On the first day of the trial on the 2nd floor, he saw with his own eyes the heaviness of Lin Yu's defeat of the Eternal Realm. At that time, he had always wanted to have a fight with Lin You to see who was stronger, but he didn't expect that he would actually meet him. It turns out to be you. Lin You looked at Mammon in surprise. He also vaguely remembered Mammon's aura, and coupled with the unique demonic appearance, he could recognize it at a glance. It is said that the other party had already condensed the fragments of his godhead 2 months ago, and will be upgraded to the 10th level after the next 10,000 realms battlefield. His strength will be ranked among the 9th level in the entire 10,000 realms. To be honest, Lin You didn't want to meet such an opponent because this will only increase his consumption, but now that we have encountered it, there is nothing we can do. We can just try to see what level our strength will reach after improving. Mammon obviously had this idea in mind, and his aura surged wildly, causing the air around him to gradually become distorted. The two sides said nothing, and looked at each other across the arena for a while. The next second, the soles of their feet suddenly exploded, and they shot almost simultaneously, turning into sharp arrows, and rushing towards each other. Drink. Hearing Mamon's loud shout, his fist filled with demonic power exploded into the space and blasted towards Lin You. There was even a faint sound of sonic boom in his ears. Facing the oncoming attack, Lin You looked sharply and directly activated the four-leaf clover to protect, and also punched out. Boom. A violent collision exploded between the two. Mamon, who was originally full of energy, suddenly changed his expression. He felt an extremely powerful force rush into his body along his fist, blasting his entire huge body away. Lost? He actually lost to a human race in a head-on collision. Mammon was shocked inside. To know, demons are born physically extremely strong. At the same level, he is definitely much stronger than other races. But he still lost so completely. How terrifying is this guy's power? Is this still a plant system that focuses on defense? Shocked, he immediately turned over in the air and flapped his wings to stabilize his body. At this moment, a large number of vines suddenly burst out of the ground and swept towards him. A large number of plants sprouted up in the center of the entire arena, forming a dense forest on the arena. It's not that easy to defeat me. Mammon snorted and soared into the sky, using his flying ability to avoid the attack of the vines. At the same time, with a flick of his thick arm, demonic fire appeared in the sky and fell straight down towards the forest below. In a series of violent explosions, the entire forest was turned into a sea of fire. Devil's fire is different from ordinary flames. Its burning ability is not that strong, but it has extremely strong adhesion and corrosion abilities. Like tarsal maggots, once infected it is difficult to extinguish, causing constant burns. Many lords are reluctant to encounter this kind of thing, especially those of the plant type, who are afraid of fire. This is why Mammon is so confident. However, before Mammon could seize the opportunity to pursue his victory, a calm voice sounded in the forest. Gravity field. With a low cry, the entire space on the field suddenly became distorted, covering the entire range of flames. Mammon, who was flying in the air, felt his whole body sinking and fell directly from the air. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as he landed, a large number of vines and wooden thorns rushed out from all directions, completely surrounding him. Lin You, who was in the sea of fire, was not affected by the devil's fire. His whole body was protected by a light shield, which completely isolated the flames. How come? Mammon was shocked. He didn't expect that someone could block his flames. Seeing countless attacks approaching, he did not dare to hold back any longer. The power of rules began to circulate, and a wall of fire erupted around him. As soon as those vines and wooden thorns came close, they were instantly burned to ashes and scattered all over the ground. Lin Yu's expression remained unchanged, and he raised his hand again, and the air around him was quickly pulled away, turning it into a vacuum. The demonic fire that was originally burning was quickly extinguished. Boom! There was an explosion under Mammon's feet, and she rushed toward him again. At the same time, the demon's blood flowed in his body, and his already huge body expanded rapidly, with muscles bulging high. A hoarse roar, like a roar from the abyss, came from Mammon's mouth. With a surge of momentum, his fist surrounded by demonic fire suddenly struck Lin You. Wherever it went, cracks appeared faintly in the space, and the speed was even faster. Lin You couldn't hide, so he had to draw the Ice Soul Sword in front of him, activate his damage reduction skills, and rush out. Boom! Click! There was a violent collision, followed by a crisp sound. The Ice Soul Sword, that had been following Lin You for a long time, actually broke, and turned into ice fragments, and shattered on the ground. And he himself was blown away by this huge force, and even the shield blessed by the sacred objects of the territory was shattered, and a punch landed heavily on his chest. What a powerful explosive method! Lin You was shocked when he felt the heavy blow on his chest. He is worthy of being the top genius in the 10 realms who has condensed fragments of his godhead, and his strength should not be underestimated. If this blow had landed on an ordinary 9th level person, it would probably have exploded with one punch. Fortunately, he had just activated his damage reduction skills, and only suffered minor injuries. Seeing Mammon chasing after him again, he no longer held back and activated his savage roar. In an instant, red light spread, and the momentum instantly rose to a new level. Mammon, who had just arrived, changed his expression, and reflexively built a thick wall of fire in front of him, while his speed slowed down sharply. But what greeted him was a huge mental wave that rushed into his mind. You lose. Lin Yu's calm voice sounded in his ears. Although there was only a moment of blankness, a strange suction force had already enveloped him. The originally violent demon blood was turned into energy and stripped out of his body, all of which merged into Lin Yu's body. The terrifying aura quickly weakened and returned to its original state. As soon as Mammon woke up, a large number of vines rushed out from the soles of his feet, completely surrounding him, and at the same time, spikes filled the sky. Mei-Ming's expression changed drastically, and he wanted to break away from the encirclement, but the next second, Lin You waved his hand, and the surging attacks completely overwhelmed him, and he didn't even have time to scream. Congratulations, you successfully passed the 6th level test. It will be transferred to the next level soon. Please be prepared. The power of the skills supported by Savage Roar is still very powerful. Even a top genius like Mammon, without the blessing of explosive skills, cannot escape the fate of being killed on the spot. Listening to the prompts in his mind, Lin Yu did not hesitate, and directly activated the final countdown skill. An ancient clock dial exuding a heavy aura appeared behind him, reverting all his status to 1 minute ago. Even the Savage Roar, that was just activated, is restored and can be activated again. In general, the consumption of this battle on him was not great and was still within the acceptable range. The only thing that couldn't be restored was the Shattered Ice Soul Sword. Lin Yu had already prepared for this and had prepared 2 identical ice attribute swords in the space. He took out one of them and put it on, and after resting for a while, he disappeared in a burst of light and teleported to the 7th layer of space. Start from the 7th floor. Enemies encountered changed from lords to monsters. Lin Yu, who passed the 6th level trial, naturally did not encounter any obstacles and soared all the way from the 7th level to the 10th level. And this time, he only used 7,000 corpses on the 10th level, and he had reached the point where he could easily crush the clones without much consumption. After excluding the 1,000 used for safety on the 9th floor, there are still 1,700 corpses left, which should be enough to pass the test on the 11th floor. Congratulations, you successfully passed the 10th level test. You will be transferred to the next level soon. Please be prepared. The prompt sounds. Lin Yu took a deep breath, and was finally transported to the 11th level of space, an array of light. On the 11th floor of information, outside the Tower of Luck, the 3 characters, Primitive Realm, that had turned gray also lit up. Look, the 9th level boss on the 11th floor is challenging again.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.